The 2005 Dakar Rally. Time is of the essence. Every moment on your channel of champions. Sponsored by Total Quartz Lubricants.
La voiture, elle est complètement détruite, Il y a le pont avant qui est à 100 mètres de la caisse.
You wouldn't want to have been in Paul Belmondo's car though. What an accident this was. No wheels left on my wagon. The former Formula One driver and long-time circuit driver in the Dakar and now out of it. Fortunately, amazingly, he was okay. Co-driver saying it was well over 100 miles an hour, 162 kilometers an hour, and we just went over and over. You can see where we landed momentarily. We were up in the air. We felt like we went over 25 times. Look at that, the complete rear end completely ripped out of his Nissan. Thanks be to God. What about this? Look at this Toyota. This is Christian Lasserre and Alain Labarbe from France. A ginormous crash. I have never seen anything as big as this in all my years of motorsport, but fortunately once more the medical crew's radioing ahead and saying that there is no problem. Other people had smaller, if not more comical problems. Now we're with Ellen Law, the German DTM driver and truck driver, competing in her first Dakar, saying we've got all sorts of electrical problems, and as you can imagine with electrical problems, they're there 1 minute, they've gone the next, and you can't see them. The satellite telephones were being put to good use with herself and a co-driver, and eventually found the switch, and it burst back into life, but not for long. Now we're with the Pro Truck number 458. As you can see, a wheel completely missing, but they're looking for the entire hub section. The whole front corner has just dissipated away somewhere in the sand, and they were out left on the track trying to find out where the parts were. They managed to find some of them. Clive Town and Patsy Quick from the UK, still in the rally and doing well. They teamed up with other riders and had a good run through, whilst this bowler Wildcat was also in trouble. It had been over and over And the Dutch crew were going to have a long afternoon as the shadows got longer and longer to repair the thing and get back in the rally. Fortunately, they did. And a mechanic's best friend, it's either a lump hammer, some tie wraps, or of course, what else? Duct tape. On board with Hans Becks once more, the former leader in the truck class on this year's Dakar, whilst the supply of duct tape was put to excellent use. It is a mechanic's best friend. What about this quad? Well, it was a quad. Other people had more fundamental problems with gravity, fortunately at a slow speed. This rider thinking once, if not twice, if not three times about how to get through the tricky section, but he was okay. This one, fortunately okay, even if it looked spectacular. A 5.8 from the judges. The trucks may be limited to 150 kilometers an hour, but there can still be big accidents. Elsewhere, more fundamental problems. Run out of fuel. And some kind motorcyclists giving a little bit of petrol to this car crew. Cheers, he says, as he tops up. Back with the trucks, we're on board with Gerard de Roy. Things going well with him at the moment, but not to be later on. He hit a bump and his DAF truck went onto its side. Big crash, but fortunately not as bad as it looks. He did manage to get back to the bivouac and get things mended. We'll catch up with him in a minute. Hiroshi Mashioka, he lost an enormous amount of time yesterday. The two-time victor of the Dakar, essentially out of the front running. Team boss Dominic Serrier welcoming Hiroshi back to the bivouac, but the look says it all. He says it's finished. To lose 3 hours is too much. You can lose one and catch up, but not three. Meanwhile, back with Gerard de Roy. He got into service, set about repairing his damaged DAF. They took the door off a service truck to replace the broken one on the race truck. Nothing like a lump hammer when you need one. Gerard saying, doesn't matter, no problem with the engine, that's the main thing. It's just the bodywork that looks bad. We'll be okay for the next stage. We've just really got to drive very carefully from now on in. Father Jan looks on. Today's stage from Smara to Zuarats. We go in to Mauritania and out of Morocco. A road section of 121 kilometers before another biggie. 492 kilometers of special stage, just starting over the border into Mauritania, and then a short road section here to Zuarats. Dawn this morning at the stage just over the border into Mauritania. Concentration everywhere.
Una speciale in Marocco molto pericolosa, brutta, piena di pietre, piena di crepe nel terreno, e quindi per me non valeva la pena di andare forte. Oggi comincia la vera corsa sulla sabbia e quindi spero che vada tutto bene, anche se su questa pista proprio l'anno scorso ho avuto, c'ho ancora il ricordo del problema avuto con la mousse scoppiata proprio nella pista verso Atar, quindi quest'anno penso e spero che vada meglio.
The border of Morocco towards Mauritania, still littered with the odd mine in the odd place, but fortunately the track marked out. Right then, Andy Caldicott was first on the stage this morning from Australia, by definition of being the victor from yesterday. It was quick at the beginning. Boy, it was quick. 100 miles an hour for the riders for 1.5 hours flat chat. All the way. It was extremely quick. Palander's Ulavaceta having a good run through the stage early on. De Azevedo from Brazil, likewise keeping it wide open. Sanna, our first look at the Italian this year. He was doing well. Likewise was Chris Blaise, having another solid run on his rookie event here in Africa. Mioni was concerned about his moose. That stops the rear tyre completely going flat, but if it gets too hot, it can completely chunk the tyre. Alfie Cox from South Africa. He was fourth out of the starting blocks this morning, and therefore 8 minutes back of the first bike on the road. Cyril Dupre and Mark Comer were 2 minutes ahead of Cox, respectively, which therefore left Andy Caldicott from Australia to be first on the road. He could only look back and see where the others were coming from. And the answer is, well, it was Mark Comer who was going to catch him first, and he did. Comer made up 2 minutes. Then into the refuelling, a 15 minutes neutralised section for the riders to refuel.
It's very, very difficult with the wind. It's very hard to hold the course, and very difficult, but it's okay.
And what about visibility?
It's not too bad. Some places it is a little difficult with the dust, but mostly not too bad.
Caldicott from South Australia, a small town called Keith. It's his second Dakar, and he's had his first stage victory. Last year, the town really clubbed together a bit of money so that he could do the Dakar. Now KTM Australia have chipped in together with Motor X, and he and David Schwartz, his teammate, doing well. Andy, 6th on the stage, now 4th overall, even though he had this quick tumble. Teammate David Schwartz, 37th in the overall standings, he being a first-timer on the Dakar. Cyril Dupre here, podium man last year on the Dakar. Today, Dupre 4th on the stage, but he leads overall. Navigation, really his kind of thing. Kind of stage that really suited Dupre. Not that technical, but very, very difficult with the navigation. Dupre leads overall. Dupre having, of course, caught Andy Caldicott, caught him for 4 minutes. That was on the stage. Poor Andy Caldicott, really there to be caught. It was relatively easy for the riders to catch Caldicott, really like shooting fish in a barrel. Here's Mark Comer. Little lost he is at this moment in time. Second overall, only to Dupre, some 34 seconds back of the Frenchman. Here we have Fabrizio Mioni and Alfie Cox. Mioni third in the overall standings, only 1 minute and 15 seconds back of Dupre. Cox a little further back, he's in 5th. 3 minutes and 20 seconds back. Here's Palander's Ulavaceta, second on the stage today, 7th overall. By the time everybody got to the finish, where it was not so quick, everybody all together. Alfie Cox wary though with his teammate Fabrizio Mioni towards the end of the stage. Mioni saying, I don't know if I'm going to get to the finish. My moose has gone in my rear tyre. Alfie there as a loyal servant though, also dropping back behind Mioni to see what the tyre was looking like. Mioni not going too quickly in case it The beading came off the rim, and then he would have absolutely no chance. He made it just to the finish. Fabrizio Mioni being victorious on the stage, though, even with that rear tyre problems, just ahead of Oliver Seta. Cox being faithful, could have won it probably, ahead of Dupre and Coma. Overall, Dupre, though, leads by just half a minute from Coma. Mioni third, Caldicott now fourth, Cox fifth. Puyol, Oliver Seta, Bretigny, Dabrowski and Chris Blaise. Fabrizio Mioni saying, difficult day, the problem is the mousse in the rear tyre. At about 90 kilometres an hour, 90 kilometres from the finish, the mousse went. The tyre was so difficult from then on in, I had to reduce my speed by about 30 kilometres an hour from then on in. I had to let the others go because if I went so quickly, it would have just completely exploded and touched the chain, maybe even taken the chain off. Difficult at the end of the day, but it all got done.
Ma ora adesso devo finire il lavoro e poi la giornata è fatta.
Oliver Seta saying very, very wind today, very difficult to find the best way. Made good navigation though I did on the stage. I quite like the sand with the camel grass. Good day overall. I'm very happy.
It was the real Mauritanian desert. And we've done it before up until the refuel, and then after the refuel it was a new piece, but a lot of camel grass, but really good in the sand, you know, very fast. No problem with navigation? Yeah, it was a big problem today after the refuel. It was not so easy to find your way, and Fabrizio made the best job out of everybody.
Onto the car section. This is Robbie Gordon, two-time stage victor already in 2005. The hero who's over here from America with the Volkswagen buggy was going a little bit too quickly, and he was over once, twice, three times, four times for Robbie Gordon. A big roll, but fortunately doesn't look too bad. The way that it seems to roll over, no real sharp corners, hitting the ground too hard. That's the way it looks, at least from here. Very, very lucky indeed to relatively get away with it. Gordon quickly out of the car, quickly running around the side of the car to see if literally there were still four wheels on his wagon. Look at the windscreen, for example. A little bit of damage, but not that much considering the kind of accident that car has just gone through.
That won't come out.
Robbie, few words. What happened exactly?
See that little tiny kickback right there? Just hit it and just tripped it. No real reason. Bad luck, I guess. We were going okay. It was a really good run for us so far, but damn it. I don't know. Hopefully we can fix the car.
Robbie Gordon at the time of this broadcast still yet to come in to service here at Zurich, but he looks to be still in the rally. Fingers crossed, that's the main thing. He started the day 7th in the overall standings. Right then, here's Stefan Perhansel. He had to change a wheel right before the very start of the stage. Could you believe it? His bad luck continuing from yesterday when he had 3 punctures. He was still a little sick, his eyesight was a little watery, a little blurred. That's what happened yesterday. That's what caused him to have 3 punctures yesterday. But it was the tables turned today because he came out the victor of the stage by just about 6 minutes. And Stefan Perhansel clawing his way up the overall standings, 5th overall. His teammate Hiroshi Mashioka, 2nd on the stage, but he's plus 3 hours in the overall standings. Mashioka way down the order at the moment. You can lose an hour and catch up, but can you lose 3 and catch up? Probably not. Still got a chance of having a top 10 finish come the end of the rally. This is Bruno Sabi with Luc Alphonse. Luc Alphonse was leading and Bruno Sabi was really following with co-driver Michel Perrin. But in the end, Luc Alphon decided to just let Sabi through and say, after you, Claude. This is the moment when it happened. Luc Alphon going to the right, Sabi following him like a lemming, and a bit of bluffing and counter-bluffing going on here. Alphon, though, eventually getting to the end of the stage. He's second overall, but it's Sabi who is leading the Dakar overall this evening. Luc Alphon saying that he's still driving with quite a bit of margin still in hand. You better watch out with Alphon as this rally unravels. Here's Jean-Louis Schlesser. Surprised not to see Schlesser a little further up in the overall standings. He's 10th. However, just to check that comment, he's only 24 minutes back of the overall leader. Anything can happen in 24 minutes. And we've got a long, long way to go before we get to Dakar. Here's Schlesser passing Thierry Magnaldi. Here's Nasser Al-Attiyah. He actually said that he probably could have gone even quicker in the stage, but it's better to drive that way with a little bit in hand rather than a little bit too quickly. 6th on the stage, 4th overall. He is one of my surprises of the rally so far. Now here's Jutta Kleinschmidt. We'll catch up with some onboard pictures of her later from another car, but Jutta Kleinschmidt 3rd in the overall standings. It's Volkswagen 1 and 3 at the moment with Sabi and Kleinschmidt respectively. Here's Carlos Souza. He's 9th in the overall standings, together with Gregoire de Mavius. Who actually did the whole stage, the pair of them together, really teaming up, as it were, the two Nissans going strongly. De Mavius 8th, Souza 9th. Here's Ari Vatanen. He had more problems today with the transmission, just as he had yesterday. Not a good day at all for Vatanen, dropping down the order. Now here's Janil de Villiers from South Africa. De Villiers 11th on the stage. He lost a bit of time with a puncture. There was a bit of confusion, but look at this. If you look ahead and see Jutta Kleinschmidt nearly rolling it.
She's lucky, huh? Yeah,
Jutta Kleinschmidt going from one wheel to one wheel, maybe even no wheels at all, catching up with Kleinschmidt after the stage, saying she doesn't even know how the thing landed on its feet. Then de Villiers had his puncture, a bit of confusion actually, co-driver mistakenly unravelling the wrong wheel nuts. But this is the news of the day. Colin McRae out of the Dakar, an enormous crash for the 1995 world champion and the leader of the rally coming into this stage, down to Zuarat. Look at it, pieces strewn all over the place. McRae lucky to not have more serious injury. In fact, he lost his vision maybe for some 10 minutes as he got out of the car initially. He is a very, very lucky boy.
We just, there's a small bump about 150 metres back here, and the back of the car kicked very high and the front caught the ground, and then we rolled over.
It was a very full speed stage and a very full speed part.
Yeah, there's lots of places like this. It's, you know, full speed, and you have to be very careful with the bumps. It didn't look so bad, but the sand was very soft at the bottom, and the car dug in the sand and then flipped over.
Did you see this bump?
Yeah, I saw the bump, but you know, I didn't expect it to be so bad.
That's an incredible crash. What did you think to after the crash? To be alive?
No, sure, just thankful. Thank God we're still here.
Big crash from McRae. He had a big one on the Thousand Lakes and he had a big one in Corsica in 2000. But this one may be even bigger. Peter Hansel victorious on the stage today after those punctures yesterday ahead of his teammate. Sabi strongly in third, Alphon and Jean-Louis Schlesser in fifth position, and then in the overall standings, Sabi ahead of Luc Alphon. Further down, Schlesser in 10th position on the bubble of the top 10 behind Souza and de Mavius.
Écoutez, c'était l'étape, à mon avis, la plus rapide du Dakar.
Stefan Peter Hansel saying, one of the fastest stages I've ever done on the Dakar. Big flat out moments over the plains. Bit of navigation over the first part of the dunes, then it was okay for us. Then we were flat out again towards the end of the stage, but then we had a puncture in the first part of that last part. We lost a few minutes more, but all in all, okay. Bruno Sarbi leading tonight's Dakar overall, saying stage not easy because of the wind, very strong. Otherwise all okay, apart from a puncture a few kilometres before the finish. If we had not had that puncture, I'm sure we would have made an even better time. Nasser Al-Attiyah saying, good day for me, very difficult. And as I feel as though I'm still a rookie, I'm probably taking too much care. Happily, my co-driver Alain, full of experience, we didn't make any mistakes. Our target is to go on and on, be one of the good drivers, stay behind the good drivers even, and have good day after good day. In 1996, Citroën left the Dakar after 5 Dakars under their belt, including 4 victories. 9 years later, well, guess what? That's right, they've returned. And they have returned with what else? The world-famous Citroën de Chevaux. I have to remind you, this is not a works effort, you realise. The shakedown done in a field behind one of the local workshops. 50-year-old car, very special version though. It's the Sahara Special Evolution version. 4-wheel drive, 2 engines, one in the front, and of course, one in the back. Where does the driver put his bread in the morning? This is the owner, Cyril Ribat. He says, I've read the rule book and I've modified it to be this incredible car. I managed to convince the organisation that it was a possibility over 6 months, and also a negotiation with the FIA. For sure, it's rather surprising. Here we are, quick look back on the first stage at Barcelona, a very leisurely takeoff from the line. 2 600cc engines in the Citroën. And even the local Morocco's having a chuckle as it comes past. We move on to tomorrow, stage 7, Zurat to Tchit. 660 kilometres of special stage, but more importantly, it's parc ferme at the end of the stage. No service allowed once you've clocked in. Either you work on your bike or your car in the stage and lose time, or you take it steady. Which is the better option? Join us tomorrow for more Dakar.